Patriot, 1320 AM.
Good morning, everybody. You are listening to 4 Deep Sports Talk here on the news station, 1320 AM WARA, and online, all one word, 4deepsportstalk.com. I'm Dominic Damiano, joined by Lucy Cabral, the sports master, finally in action, Justin Ferrer, and of course Alex Mayo. He is our IT guy. He is helping us out with the Facebook link, doing his thing. But we are happy to be joined, I almost said happily be joined by Nate Rollins and Tom Joyce. They are our beat writers that help us out a lot of Patriot League action, no matter what the sport is going on in the Patriot League. We're going to touch on that in a minute. But first, what I want to do is I have a special interview with Coach Fleck that I had the pleasure. Nate and I went over to Whitman-Hanson. And the reason why this is so special is that the Whitman-Hanson program has not lost a losing record since 1999. So you'll hear Nate's voice, you'll hear me, we talk to some of the girls, and people watching on Facebook, you'll be able to see the interview, get some still shots of the girls and in the field where they play over at Whitman-Hanson. Beautiful field. It's a beautiful field. And again, the three girls. So here we're gonna when Alex is ready. Alex, you ready?
Yeah.
He's ready. So we'll go to that right now. Then we'll come back to Nate Rollins and Tom Joyce.
You haven't had 100 career losses yet. What's that sort of say about the stability in this program that you've sort of built up here at Whitman-Hanson?
It says I'm pretty fortunate that we get some really talented players that come through, and I think we as a coaching staff are smart enough not to get in their way, right? But no, I think we've been blessed that the program has established itself so younger kids in the 4th, 5th, 6th grade who want to be a part of the program are already working towards that and working their skills to get here. And so, year after year, we graduate great players, and then in come some other great players, and that's how we've been able to have success. And I think also, I feel very fortunate we have a coaching staff who've all been together for a number of years, from the freshman level, the JV level, and the varsity level, and that stability I think is really important.
Sure. Last year's captains, obviously, Eve and Elena. What sort of void did they leave on this team for you guys?
A big void, right? Yeah. They were 4-year starters, huge leadership for us, not just on the field but off the field. But they had played in everything from a state championship game right on down, so they were able to share that with everybody. So it's a big void, but we have a couple other seniors returning that have a lot of experience, and we're looking forward to their leadership as well.
Bonavita, she's obviously in another world of her own, already tearing it up at UMass Amherst. Can you just sort of touch on her and obviously the big void she left for you guys?
Yeah, look, she had one of the best seasons of any high school player in the state, right? Sure. Scoring 43 goals, and it was a one-man wrecking crew. Right. But it's a huge void, but we're not trying to fill that, because that would be a huge mistake on our part to put that kind of pressure on anybody. So we're trying to look at doing it differently. Sure. But certainly when you have a player that type of talent, it's always a big loss.
What do you feel like this team's strength is going to be going into the year, and sort of turn that into some success?
I think balance. We have a lot of balance, and we have a lot of depth. And so we have people who can play multiple positions. We have quite a bit of pace. We're a pretty quick team, but we're young. Sure. So there's going to be some growing pains along with that, but it's nice because they don't know what they don't know yet. So it gives us a great opportunity to teach, and so really excited about them, and the excitement in the group is just tremendous right now.
Can you rattle off who you guys are returning for starters in what position?
So Skylar Kuzmich returns as our starting goalkeeper, and she's phenomenal. Sammy Smith starts in the back for us.
She going back to defense, or you moving her up to forward?
We're still playing around with that, depending on how some other things go. But she'll probably play a little bit of both. And she's one of the best players in the state of Massachusetts, in my opinion, right now. So she returns, and Olivia Johnson, one of our starting outside backs, returns, although she's out right now ill, but she returns. So those are the only 3 starting seniors that will return. The rest are all underclassmen.
I just want to touch on a few individual players real quick. Skylar's going to be, her 3rd year in net for you guys?
Yep. My fourth year.
Fourth year in
She
that?
started
So you sort of touched on it, but how big of a confidence boost does that give you to return your starting netminder?
Perfect, because she organizes our defense. We'll have some different people on defense, and she's the one, she's the conductor of that. And, I've said since day one of her greatest attributes is the saves that she never has to make because she organizes that defense so well that she shuts off opportunities before they get to her. She can still make the game-saving save, but she shuts off a lot.
Sure, and how have you sort of seen her get better as she's obviously fourth year in that?
She trains all year round, but this year I think she really focused on her footwork. So she's much quicker. She's strengthened her body. Her core strength is better, and so she's quicker side to side and things like that. And then her confidence is tremendous as a leader on the team. So I think that's how she's really improved.
Yeah, how do you sort of see her working on her craft? Does she sort of take time out of practice and go in the corner and sort of catch some balls, or do you know if she's...
Well, we train our goalkeepers separate for like the first 45 minutes of every training session, and we work on their footwork and things like that, and then we incorporate them into what we do as a team. So, and then she trains a lot on her own. She'll grab a speed ladder and be working on her footwork and that type of stuff. That's just the type of kid she is.
Any saves stick out that she's made over the course of her career that sort of comes to mind?
I mean, she's had so many. I mean, if I go most recent, in our tournament run, the game down in Hingham, where we beat who's always one of the big rivalries with us in the tournament, and she made 3 or 4 saves there that absolutely gave us an opportunity to win the game. And we're hoping we don't have to see too many highlight reel saves, but we're happy that we have her there to make a few if she needs to.
You sort of touched on Sammy earlier on, but just what makes her so special for you guys? Is that versatility?
Sammy is one of the most athletic kids I've ever coached. Her ability, she's super quick and everything else, but her ability to change directions while being full speed, where most kids can't do that. They have to take an extra step, and that's what gives her the advantage. She is tremendous in tight spaces, and if she gets in open space, she covers 60 or 70 yards, dribbling the ball faster than people can do it without a ball. She's just a supreme talent, and that's why BC snatched her.
That's going to make you proud, Coach, see another one of your players sort of go to that D1 level.
Yeah, I mean, and really, it's not. I'm glad we're a part of it. These kids work so hard all year round. It's not like they just show up here in August and do it. And we're glad that we put them in an environment to hopefully help grow their game and have some success. But they do a lot of work on their own too.
My final question for you is, what is this team's goal, and sort of what do you want to see over the first few weeks of the season?
Yeah, right now, I mean, in all honesty, and I don't want to sound like super cliche-ish, but because we're so young,
sure,
we want to be better today than we were yesterday, and that's what we're going to have a team talk now. We just started separating teams last night after the first scrimmage, so we have what is pretty much what's looking like the varsity group here now, and that's right now what our focus is. We have to be better today than we were yesterday, and that's all we're focusing on, because anything else right now would be, I think, foolish on our part.
I'm here with Sammy Smith from Whitman Hanson High School, senior player heading to Boston College. Boston College. Are you excited for your last year?
Yes, very excited.
And how did the scrimmage work out for you?
Yesterday we were just struggling with finishing sometimes, but we had all the chances. We had many chances, and I'm excited. We just need to finish.
Now, what did you work on this year, being your senior year? This year?
We lost a lot of very good seniors last year, so we're working on building our team and filling those big spaces like Lauren Bonavita's role. We need to fill that role.
Okay. Well, good luck. Thank you. I told you it'd be painless. Good luck this year.
Thank you.
Olivia Johnson coming off a wrist injury. Are you ready for this year now? You must be over excited to get on that field.
Oh yes, I'm too excited to get on the field now.
And what preps did you change from this year, from last year to get ready?
This year I did a lot more off-season fitness, just running all the time and everything like that. We've also focused on, as a program, being closer, being as close as we can before the season even starts, just developing relationships and stuff like that. Yeah, that's about it.
What about mechanical-wise?
For wrists?
Yeah.
Oh, I've been doing months of PT.
Yep.
Probably about 4 months of PT. Still working on it. It's not fully healed.
How about skill-wise on your position?
Skill-wise, a lot more of just, defensive drills, stuff like that. Mental toughness on defense now, We've lost a couple defenders, just kind of building it back up now.
Great. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
With Tyler Skuzmich. I'm going to say it right. Kuzmich, thank you. Senior goalkeeper.
Yep.
So, what have you worked on for this year to get ready for this year, I should say?
I've been working on becoming leaner, so I'm a lot faster, because obviously I'm a bigger goalkeeper, so my biggest issue is getting off my line quicker, getting off the ground quicker, so I've been working on my speed and quickness, going to the gym a lot, leaning out, and just getting up quickly off the ground and stuff like that.
Do you think the opponents in the league will recognize that you work as much as you've been working on this quickness this year? Do you think it's a whole different person in that for the Lady Panthers?
I wouldn't say a whole nother person, but I think I have improved in different aspects of the game. Last game I played was really in June when I went to nationals with my club team, and even since then I think I have gotten quicker, but I don't think it's going to be a complete different player, no.
What did you want to work on mechanically, though, for this year? Anything come to mind besides the quickness, skill-wise?
Like, do you have it? What do you
Well,
mean?
mechanical-wise, for the position itself, you know what I mean? Cut down the angle of shots.
No, I mean, I feel like my biggest issue is like just my quickness and getting off the ground or getting on the ground, stuff like that. So definitely like jumping and then getting low and getting up again. That's probably my biggest issue of the game right now.
All right, that'll work. Thank you.
No problem.
And that's our interview that we have with those three girls and Coach Fleck. And we're getting ready to take our first break. We'll come back with Nate Rollins and Tom Joyce. As I try to keep this up, you are listening to 4 Deep Sports Talk here in the news station, 1320 AM WARA, and online, all one word, 4deepsportstalk.com. We're doing our Patriot League prep show for the football season coming up. And I was trying to time it the best I could, Louis, but I think I got a little bit ahead of myself. If you want to call in when we come back at 508-222-1320, we'll be back with more right after this.
Today's 4 Deep Sports Talk broadcast is sponsored by Frank Bedeck Law Office. Visit them at bedecklaw.com. By Dr. Scott J. Mandel. Visit them at superiorortho.com. And by Source Pumping Incorporated. Simply the best at what they do. Visit them at sourcepumping.com.
Hey, welcome back. You're listening to 4 Deep Sports Talk and the news station, 1320 AM WARA, and online, all one word, 4deepsportstalk.com. I'm Dominic Damiano, joined by Lucy Cabral, the sports master, Justin Ferrer, and our tech guy, Alex Mayo, out in the wing. You can't see him or you can't see me in the session. All you can see is Tom Joyce and Nate Rollins. As they help us out a lot with 4 Deep Sports Talk. They help us cover the Patriot League. Program note, next weekend we will have Taunton High School girls soccer in, followed by Josh Perry from Hockomock Sports, talk about the Hockomock conference coming up. But, I'm glad that, Tom's not calling from the Taco Bell parking lot.
We called you guys out last week, so.
This is a little nicer than the Taco Bell parking lot. Got a little hot in my car.
Well, yeah, I bet it did. So we have a lot of fun when we're together, grabbing a pizza and stuff like that, hanging out.
Sodas,
exactly. But at that bottom of this break, the Sports Master's back in action. Here's a jamboree highlight for a field hockey tournament, the field hockey jamboree that happened out in Situate, and he has a couple of key dates he wants to get up there, and some of the champions start their 2019 reign. And so with that being said,
You know, Tom,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
this is the first time we've had both of them in here.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I want to know tell everybody a little bit about yourself. How'd you get into this?
That's a good point.
That's a good question. So I started off when I was probably a sophomore in high school, started blogging about the Red Sox, started to work my way up. But with high school sports, I also played high school football, won the state championship. That's why I'm repping the Marshfield sweatshirt today.
Ooh, Marshfield.
Taught myself how to long snap based off YouTube videos, could go on and on, but pretty much just worked my way up and, met Dom through Nate, who met him at a high school football game. And I met Nate because my cousin and him went to elementary, middle, and high school together in East Bridgewater.
Nice. And so exactly what do you guys do out there for us?
Good question. Yeah, so we kind of give Dom some info, some scouting on the teams, fill on the scores and all that, and highlights, and obviously come here.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll never forget that time I met Dom. Nor will I.
Nobody ever.
I was standing
forgets
outside
that
the
time.
press box because I like standing in the stands and covering games.
This is a weirdo.
Dom says, get in there. And I went in there, started taking some stats. Dom with stats. But like Tom, I've been blogging about the Red Sox for a while. That's where I got started. I'm now going to be a senior at Emerson.
Good for you.
Studying journalism and sports communication. As Tom does, I cover a lot of high school sports and sort of send Dom a lot of scores and, sort of try and get him down there to some practices. Dom will tell you, I'm always messaging him about practices, and I've got him down to a few of them recently, so.
Yeah, nothing on Whitman Hanson though.
He's their super fan beat guy.
I would say I'm a fan. Absolutely not. Definitely not a fan. But love covering them. It's fun school to cover, and I know Dom's been down there a couple times, and he can sort of attest to that as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So what is it about Whitman Hanson?
Nothing. I just
You just like
cover
going
him.
down there?
No, I just cover him for a newspaper. So,
Huh.
that's why I'm always down there.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
just doing that work. But other than that, I never had any prior connection to the school until about 3 years ago when I started covering them on a freelance basis.
So he kind of just admired Bob Rogers from afar, the old Boston Red Sox, basically like the old Tom Caron of the Red Sox 15 years ago.
Cool.
Bob does a great job with the Whitman Hanson athletic program. He's always on Twitter promoting the teams, promoting the players, promoting coaches, sharing my articles. Yeah, and he runs a website for the athletic program, so he's definitely one of the better ADs around for sure.
Yeah.
Promoting that school.
Here's a shout out to you.
Yeah, it is.
Awesome.
All right, so with that being said, I'm glad, I know Shooter knows something about like that. Who are these people? Good job, Dom. So, with that being said, I'm just checking the Facebook feed on Facebook Live, so we do for viewers. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the upcoming 2019 season. You guys picked 18, sorry. I did.
He's so excited.
That's it. So let's pick a team, let's pick a conference, and tell us what you know. I'll pick a division and out of the conference.
Sure. Well, I was tasked with looking at some details in the Patriot League Keenan division, and I don't know how you want to do this. You want to start from the bottom, predictions from the bottom to the top, or from the top to the bottom? I can rattle off a team that Tom can.
It does. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll go every other division. We'll go pick a team from the. Who has the Keenan? You have the Keenan,
I do have the Keenan.
and you have the Fisher, right? So just pick a team, pick a school out of the conference. We'll go from there.
Sure. So I'll go, I guess, with Quincy, even though I think Tom would be better suited for this because he covers Quincy, but no, Quincy's going on their first year head coach. Quincy's got a few returnees, including tight end Andrew Rooney and Mark Medina. Nose tackle Jamal Williams is a big loss for them, but Quincy finished 2-7 last year, I believe. 2-9. 2-9 last year. They opened up. Who did they open up against, Tom?
Braintree, I believe.
Yeah, they open up against Braintree. I believe that's Saturday next week. So Quincy's sort of going to try and rely on the strength of an offensive line. I believe they returned 12 players off last year's team. So it looks like an offensive line heavy team, and it looks like this sort of offense will come as they can get it. But defense seems to be a strong suit in offensive line as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to kick it over to the Patriot League Fisher division, you can start at the top with the Situate Sailors. They went 8-3 last year. They're returning their Patriot League All-Scholastic quarterback, Aiden Sullivan. Threw for around 2,000 yards last year, 23 touchdown passes. mean, they lost quite a few Patriot League all-stars, all scholastics from the Patriot ladder as well. Get those two confused sometimes. Defensively, they'll be a little less experienced. They do have plenty of bodies, a lot of enthusiasm about football in Situate because they've been a winning team just about every year for the past decade. Our offensive line certainly has some more experience, which is good. And a lot of kids, because they have a spread offense, there's a lot of kids who want to play wide receiver. They have some options there. And like I said, they're the team that pretty much just wins. And also, on Aiden Sullivan, I must add that he is also a basketball athlete, and he visited Emerson College recently. I got some things I can say off the air about Emerson College, but I know Nate's a big fan, so we'll pretend it's good.
You should have rolled his eyes at you. Emerson College. Oh, that was good. I know we got on video though. So we have 115 people watching right now.
Nice.
Not bad. What's our next school?
Well, he mentioned Emerson College and he mentioned men's basketball, so why not go to the alma mater of Emerson men's basketball?
Duxbury.
Head coach, Duxbury.
Because I am not a Duxbury guy.
Right, Joyce currently is a Duxbury guy, and Duxbury right now, I would say, is the favorite to win the Patriot League Keenan division. Dragons have won the past 10 Patriot League Keenan division titles. They have.
Yes, they have, but I don't know if this is their year.
Well, they're the favorite till they get knocked out, right? Is that fair? Okay, the Dragons returned a lot of talent, including senior co-captain and quarterback John Roberts at QB. The O-line is anchored by Princeton University commit Quinn Murphy. And Will Crowder is back at wide receiver, one of the better wide receivers in the league. The Dragons' defense appears to be probably their weak point at the moment. They had a lot of losses on that, and they're going to rely on linebacker Mike McCutcheon. And I would say right now, as I mentioned before, Dragons would be up there for me to win the league, and they open up against Bridgewater Rainham on Thursday, so that should be a good game. A couple Southeastern teams, and over to you, Tom.
I also just have to mention, in terms of Duxbury, defense is absolutely not their strong suit. We beat them 44-43 my senior year on Thanksgiving. Marshfield has beat them 5 years in a row on Thanksgiving, but I digress, and we'll hit Pembroke because I drive through Pembroke every day. Okay, so Pembroke was 4-7 last year. They won on Thanksgiving against a really tough Silver Lake team who made it to the playoffs. Of 3 of their losses last year, it was by combined 6 points, so they actually were pretty good. And they got shut out by Holston in the first round of the playoffs. Holston's very tough offensively. It was 13-0 close game. This year, looking a little more inexperienced, sort of on the defensive side. Running backs a little less experienced, but honestly, if you can get a kid who can run and hold on to a ball, all you need is blocking. And they have a lot of bodies. Their offense, sorry, one sec. Lost my train of thought. They do have a lot of bodies in those things, and their offensive line is absolutely strong. So you got guys like Jack Rooney, Glenn Egan, Zach Maddock. That's 3 returning starters right there. Tommy Brook is going to start playing some quarterback. He's a wide receiver in the past. He's has some very good experience as a defensive back, so you know that's a team that's going to run quite a bit.
That's a good job. That's a really good. Well, all of you guys always do good anyway. All right, so who we leave out? We're still going. We're not.
We're still going. We're almost at the halfway.
Almost at the halfway point. All right.
But I'm gonna go with Plymouth North right now, and it sort of have tough sledding. Plymouth North turnout wise, and just the fact that they play in the league with going in this year, probably gonna have 3 of the best teams in Division III in Whitman Hanson, Duxbury, and Hingham. Plymouth North does not return much. They did return a couple kids who weren't starters last year. Jeremy Whiting at quarterback and Josh Simmons at running back. Other than that, it's pretty much a reboot for Plymouth North. A few guys back in the offensive line, but other than that, as I mentioned, almost changing of the guard per se. And they open up September 7th against Weymouth. This should be a good one.
Yeah. I mean, why not keep it in the same town themselves? They were in the ACL back in my day. I remember beating up on them. So exactly. So we saw them play yesterday. We saw them play Whitman Hanson a little bit. We're at that scrimmage for a while. They're a little bit of a smaller team, but really do admire the hustle. They were flying to the ball. They look tough on the secondary, but on the ends, they have some experience coming back. Matt Harrington's a big kid on the defensive end. James Keranen is a big kid on the defensive end, also plays some tight end. Jordan Williams is also a wide receiver who they have to throw to. So, I mean, on the ends, pretty solid. And also, they have a tremendous kicker coming back, Emma Sampson. She kicked the game-winning field goal against Pembroke last year in the games. So, anytime you can have special teams, I was the long snapper in high school. So, anytime someone specializes in special teams, I got to give them a shout out, respect.
There you go. We're gonna take our first break. And when we come back, you will be a minute away from hearing the sports master as he starts his 2018 scores and highlights. But he does have a little bit, like we talked about earlier, he has the Jamboree results from the other day over at Situate High School. Some field hockey, a bunch of high schools got together and got ready for this year. He has that, plus he has a couple key dates you might want to pay attention to as far as boys football, girls soccer, and boys soccer. We'll be right back with more right after this.
Today's 4 Deep Sports Talk broadcast is sponsored by Frank Bedeck Law Office. Visit them at bedecklaw.com. By Dr. Scott J. Mandel. Visit them at superiorortho.com. And by Source Pumping Incorporated. Simply the best at what they do. Visit them at sourcepumping.com.
Hey, welcome back. You're listening to 4 Deep Sports Talk here on the news station, 1320 AM WARA, and online, all one word, 4deepsportstalk.com. I'm Dominic Damiano, always joined by Lucy Cabral, the sports master Justin Farrer, and Alex Mayo. And in the studio, we have Tom Joyce and Nate Rollins. If you go right to left to right, if you're looking on Facebook. But real fast, we're going to start the 2018 a little bit of review, just things the sportsmaster has, and he is back in the big seat, ready to go. So with that, I'll turn over to Justin Ferrero.
Hi, this is Justin Ferrero, the sportsmaster. A lot of fall teams fishing up these scrim things to get ready for the 2018 season. Here's a couple of reasons why I think it would be fun to watch open up the fall season. September 6th, Duxbury football game goes to Bridgewater to open up their season. September 7th, Super Bowl champs Middleborough will go to take on Appomattox. Also, Attleboro will host Midford in a non-league game. Kingfield will travel to North Attleboro. Wyndham Hanson will host Marshfield. Brockton will host Lexington. All games start at 7 p.m. Girls soccer, Wyndham Hanson versus Orange on September 1st. That's today. Archbishop Williams will host Sacred Heart. Miners will visit Bellingham. Boys soccer, Situate will visit state champions Brockton Boxers. Orange will travel to Wyndham Hanson the first. Orwell will host Whiteman Hanson on the 6th, and Cohasset will host Caviar.
Carver. You're right.
I like caviar.
Me too.
Now it's time for an update for field hockey jamboree from Situate. Game 1, Wyndham Hanson beats Middleborough 1-0. Game 2, Wyndham Hanson ties Saiton 2. Game 3, Wyndham Hanson beats Martha Vineyard 1-0. Game 4, Wyndham Hanson beats Saiton 2-0. And Game 5, Wyndham Hanson beats Middleborough 1-0. Wyndham Hanson 4 wins and 1 loss overall for the jamboree. Last year, talented. I'm just prefer the sports session, and you're listening to 4D Shortstop.
Good job. Awesome.
Doesn't get any better than that. I don't care where you're from, it doesn't get any better than that.
That's right.
So we'll have Justin will have more scores on next weekend. Again, he'll have the South Shore scores, and Lucy and I will help him out a little bit. But
Oh, yeah, I'm on assignment next week.
you're on assignment. I'm sure you
Yeah,
won't be.
I won't
Yeah.
be.
Oh, okay. And then the 13th, 20th, I'm on assignment. So
Ah.
October.
October.
13th.
Yeah, we're talking October.
Yes, October 13th, October 20th. There'll be a show. Lucy will be, be running the board here, and we'll let you know, via Facebook who's in. All right, so let's jump right back into it. I think we're gonna start with Silver Lake. Is that where we're going or no?
I was going with Hingham.
Let's go, Hingham.
All right, Hingham. Hingham sort of had an interesting offseason. They were sort of part of this coaching carousel, let's say, around Southern Mass. So just fill you in, I'm sure Tom knows. But Hingham, old coach Chris Aruka heads to Marshfield. So in turn, Hingham hires Hingham hires Jim Connor from Norwell, and then Norwell ends up with Mark Killinger from Over Avon. So just fill you in there. Jim Connor's a good fit for Hingham. He really did a good job building the Norwell team up from 3 months of base. I think Norwell went 8-3 last year. So he also inherits a very strong Hingham team offensively, certainly. Tom was mentioning height before we went to the break, and Hingham has some height. Hingham is 2 6'6" receivers, and Spencer Cassell, who is getting many looks, D1 looks actually, and then they have junior wide receiver Cole Finney. Returning for quarterback for the 3rd year is Jack Johnson, and as I mentioned before, the big issue for Hingham is they're just in such a strong division, playing against Duxbury and Whitman. It's going to be tough, but Hingham looks strong. Hingham looks very strong offensively. I would say the one concern right now would just be that defense and being able to stop a couple of better quarterbacks around the Patriot League. But other than that, Hingham's a sure bet to everyone back this year.
Awesome.
And to piggyback off that, before I get into another team, I just got to say, Chris Rucco was my offensive coordinator in high school. Really great guy. I think he's an awesome fit for Marshall. But like he's saying, Coach Conn is really someone that I'd want. He got Norwell to perfect sort of the wing T offense, even though they didn't have much in numbers to work with. So I think when he goes to a school with more kids, more numbers, bigger bodies to work with, I think they can have some serious success there. But going over in a little south, another team that starts with an H would be Hanover. They went 4-7 last year. They have a real chance to bounce back. We know they're the 2016 Division III Super Bowl champs of the state, but they got Andrew Carroll coming back at quarterback for the 2nd year. He was actually a wide receiver as a freshman, was on that championship team, and the offensive line is going to be huge once again. That is right, huge. 250 pounds is what Chris Landolfi was saying the average offensive lineman may weigh for them. And then they have some guys coming back with experience as two-way starters. James Barron, running back and linebacker. Ethan De Silva, tight end and linebacker. Jack Dillon, wide receiver, defensive back. So it's not going to be another down year for them. I saw them play on Thanksgiving, albeit a little battered. They played Norwell extraordinarily well. Game went into overtime. Anytime a team kicks a field goal that's over 30 yards, my eyes just pop out of my head because I'm impressed, because I always saw teams growing up, my Marshfield teams, we didn't have people who could kick extra points, so respect.
Wait till we cover the ACC. He'll be all over it then.
Yeah. Good question. Is Jack Delahunt related to Matt Delahunt, the former 3-point specialist and Patriot League All-Star for that Hanover
Gotta be.
basketball
Yep.
Really, wow. He was one of the best basketball players I've seen in this area. That kid can shoot.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to Silver Lake. Silver Lake has a lot of talent that has since graduated. They returned Bobby Olson at wide receiver and safety. Grant Boss is back at tackle, the end, and also defensive tackle. Jesse Miller takes over at quarterback from 3-year starter Tanner Boyd. And Phil Lashley leaves a huge void out of the backfield. So it's pretty much a reboot for Silver Lake, among many teams. And it's sort of half the teams in the Keenan division, but Silver Lake's going to have some major changes. But they're well coached. Jack Miller does a very good job at Silver Lake. So they should be competitive, but they're going to have a new look this year.
And then that leaves North Quincy. So in addition to my karaoke skills at the China on Thursday nights, they actually play football in North Quincy. The Red Raiders have quite the interesting situation. So it's all in one city, which is interesting. But they lost their quarterback. quarterback. They lost 4 or 5 on the offensive line. The team's going to look a lot different this year. They got Ryan Craig as the new head coach. He coached the Quincy Apaches. He was sort of an 8th grade head coach for the past decade or so. Has some experience coaching high school football, sort of as a coordinator around the turn of the century. Game was a little bit different back in those days. Dom knows he played back in the day. He knows high school football has changed over the years. So on the offensive line and quarterback, they're a little wiped out. But they do have some experience coming back. Some of the more skilled players. Nelson Walling Jones, a big kid. He's on the defensive end and tight end. But the running back situation in the secondary should be strong. You got Win Tran coming back as a running back and strong safety. Nate Slayman, same exact thing. Running back and strong safety. They're about the same size. Both got the ball quite a bit last year. Andrew Arosas, he has air in his name, so what do you think he does? He catches passes and he defends against passes. He's a wide receiver and strong safety. But honestly, Craig is a long-time youth football coach. You got a couple of running backs coming back. That may reflect his experience as a youth coach, where they may run the ball a little more, because I don't know if they'll have enough pass protection in terms of what they have as an experience, and I don't really know in terms of what they'll have at quarterback last year. The quarterback situation was all right, but even with an experienced quarterback, they were a team who ran quite a bit under a different coach. But if you take a youth coach and move them to the varsity level, I think the offense may reflect that, absolutely.
Sure, I'll finish up with what Nancy 3 straight 7-4 seasons and first round exits in the playoffs. The Panthers returned 9 starters on both sides of the ball and a senior class of 19. Big losses for them on Brent's 4-year starter. Started every single game of his career at center Riley Holland. A wide receiver / cornerback Brett Holmes is another big loss for the Panthers. But other than that, pretty much they're going to go down God's plays if they go down. I mean, Phelps is back for his 3rd year in the center, combined for 2,600 yards on offense last year, 32 touchdowns, accounted for 84% of his team's touchdowns he was in on. They also returned Brandon Frawley back in the backfield. Mike Connors is back in the backfield as well. Mike Connors is also the staple of that defense. 104 tackles last year. Wide receiver, they bring back Billy Martell. He's just one of a few guys they have there, very experienced. Up front, leader up front on that O-line, Quinn Sweeney, also the leader on the defensive line. They have a lot of talent coming back. So this is the year if they're going to do something, because after this year, it's a reboot for them. So we'll see how they do. They're excited and they want that league title. They want to rip it away from Duxbury.
I'm honestly shocked you didn't just go ahead and say that you thought Whitman Hanson was going to win the league title.
No. That's funny. So I think, this is what I think, as far as looking at the Fisher, I can see Situate and Hanover definitely battling out in the Fisher.
Yeah, and Hanover's actually in a smaller division in terms of the playoffs, so they could both have success in November.
Yeah, exactly. And then under the Keenan, I think it's going to be Whitman, Hanson, and Hingham trying to catch Duxbury. But if any, then like you said about the bodies over at Whitman Hanson.
All 3 of those teams could win a state title.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Realistically, I can see it going anyway. Hingham, Whitman Hanson, and Duxbury, any of them could win.
Someone needs to knock off Duxbury. It needs to stop now.
Well, it's going to be good because Thursday, I think I might go and help out BTV when they cover it, because they'll be home. Duxbury's going to visit Bridgewater Raynham.
Oh.
So I get my first look at both teams, and it'd be interesting to see how Duxbury comes out there. They're going to be a powerhouse. I mean, one year they had the Air McNair season where they had one kid going to Princeton. I think one of the receivers was going to Princeton, and they were just crazy good. Crazy good is probably the only real way to say it. They were unbelievable. But we're going to take last break. Do I get the time right? Yeah, I get the time right. Last break. We are highlighting the Patriot League here on 4 Deep Sports Talk, doing our rundown with our 2 beat writers, Nate Rollins and Tom Joyce. You can call them when we get back at 508-222, almost another number, 222-1320, 508-222-1320. We'll be back with more, well, maybe 10 seconds. I'm going to try to stretch this out. We'll see if I can do it.
Oh, you got this.
All right, we'll be back with more right after this.
Today's 4 Deep Sports Talk broadcast is sponsored by Frank Bedeck Law Office. Visit them at bedecklaw.com. By Dr. Scott J. Mandel. Visit them at superiorortho.com. And by Source Pumping Incorporated. Simply the best at what they do. Visit them at sourcepumping.com.
Then tomorrow we'll split. Hey, welcome back. You're listening to 4 Deep Sports Talk here on the news station. 1320 AM WARA and online, all one word, 4deepsportstalk.com. I'm Dominic Damiano, joined by Lucy Cabral, Sportsmaster Justin Ferreira, Alex Mayo, our Facebook IT guy doing all the magic that you cannot see him on the screen right now, but he's doing a great job. We're joined by our 2 beat writers, Nate Rollins and Tom Joyce. Nate also writes for the Whitman Hanson Express, right? Did I say that right?
You did.
And there's a shot. And Tom's just about everywhere. You help out the, is it the Ledger too? The Patriot?
Sometimes Patriot, Ledger, Quincy Sun,
yeah.
Halifax Express, etc.
There you go. Now, I had a question. Now, you're going back to school and you asked me to call in to a show on Sunday. Is that true? Tuesday.
Yes, it's actually going back Tuesdays.
Tuesday. So I think Lucy Cabral should call in and have Lucy give her take on what we do here.
Yeah.
Because I'm such a blah voice, so I think we should, so we need, what do you think? Think that'll work?
Works for me.
So, we'll exchange numbers. So Lucy will be on what show on Tuesday night?
Primetime Sports Talk.
And
Ooh, I like it.
And where do you pick it up at?
It's online, etin.com.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can send you guys over the link and you can blast it out on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm blasted out because she's gonna be the guest. Lucy Cabral, co-host of 4 Deep Sports Talk, will be on Primetime Sports, right?
I like it.
At what time?
Prime time.
Prime.
I believe we're going on at 8.
8 o'clock. Okay, there you go.
8 to 10.
Program note, we talked about, what's coming up next couple of weeks, Taunton girls soccer, a couple of seniors in the coach, and then Josh Perry will come on from Hockomock Sports. We'll talk about the Hockomock Conference. And then next Saturday, we will have game 2. Believe it or not, it's finally over. The Taunton East, Taunton West, game 2, Taunton, the City Series, they call back in Taunton. Taunton Little League Championship Series. Game 1 we will tape. Game 2 will be live here on 1320 AM WARA. We've been doing it all season. We do it at Attleboro, do it at Freetown, Lakeville. So we try to get out there to support the kids, show them off because no one else does, and we do, and we think we're pretty good at it. So that'll be game 2. Maybe we could have these guys drop by, and if you guys are busy next Saturday, one could cover one lock, one dugout, the other one could cover the other one. Maybe you could hear something and come back and give us a little insight between innings.
Stealing the signs.
There you go. We don't want to steal no signs.
Apple Watches.
If you want to call in at 508-222-1320, the Sportsmaster. We just got the wrinkles out. He'll be in full effect next Saturday with highlights of scores of boys and girls soccer, football, field hockey, you name it, he'll have it. I'm going to try to stay with him and keep up with him, and hopefully we'll have that. And I think that covers a lot of what we have going on. So, Lucy Cabral, Tuesday night, 8 o'clock on Primetime Sports, co-host of 4 Deep Sports Talk. You don't want to miss that interview. It's going to be great. I mean, he offered to me first, and I said, you know what? It ain't about me. They're going to know who the other partner in crime is. Kids can't be me. So it works out great.
Thank you, Dom. Looking forward to that.
So it's going to be pretty cool.
Should be legendary.
Be legendary. There you go. And then maybe we'll get the Sportsmaster on next time, and he can let you know what goes on in his opinion with 4 Deep Sports Talk. So we covered the Patriot Keenan division, the Patriot League, Fisher and Keenan division out of the Patriot Conference, and I think that you guys did a great job. You guys did a great job. So with that being said, Luke's will get a kick out of it. So sometimes, and I need Justin's input, you know, we get together, we'll have pizza, have a couple soft drinks, and we'll relax and we'll shoot the breeze. One of the topics that were brought up last week was, we only have 8 minutes, so we'll try not to beat the sun too much as Nate rolls his eyes and Tom has a big smile. It's school of choice. School of choice was the topic, and, you know, I mentioned years ago, and I used a couple analogies. One of them was how great Coyle Cassidy was in high school hockey, and they used to take a lot of the kids out of the Bridgewater Raynham area. And then I also didn't rebut them, but I also added how Severian, the parents can choose and pay. They, of course, have to pay at the private school, but they believe the football program, they'll get more notice if they go to a Division I Catholic school, like Severian Brothers out of Norwood or BC High, you know, out of the Dorchester up there, and you know, up there in that area. And then, like Whitman Hanson is a good example when it comes to girls soccer. Some people go school choice, but you know what? You know you're going to get a good education over Whitman Hanson, but you're also going to have one hell of a girls soccer coach. So you know you're going to get coached well, and hopefully, and everyone listening to the interview prior to as we started the show, some of those kids are playing Division I girls soccer, and they're playing in a Division III conference. If you really think about it, you know what I mean. So that was our little my little spiel I wanted to end with, you know, and get everyone's taking it. Nate has his, Tom has his, and I have mine, but it all basically comes the same. But it was a lot of fun. But I wanted to get your take on that.
As far as picking a.
Yeah, school, and you know, and again, you know, like I said, Whitman Hanson, some of the girls like to go there that are not from, but they go to there because they, you know, I'll use soccer for an example. And then like the football, you know, they'll go to Severian Brothers because they believe that they'll get more notice and it's better coaching, you know, better challenge for their kid at the time. And they don't mind paying $12,000 a year to go to Severian Brothers, you know.
I wish I had $12,000 I could just drop on something.
Yeah,
me
well,
too.
you know what? I think it's a parent's decision more than it is a
Right.
kid's decision.
Right,
And I don't like that decision. You know what I mean?
right,
But I do think that the kids are going to excel in any program that they're involved in. It's how they play the game, how motivated they're going to be. And I think the parents will have a lot to do with that because they're sending them there on a budget and they're expecting great things to happen.
right,
So that puts a lot of pressure on a kid.
right,
I've seen it happen all over the place. And,
right.
sometimes the outcome isn't too good, you know?
And then sometimes it is. You're right, exactly.
Sometimes it is, but most of the time, parents are living through their kids' fantasies here. And that's not really a good thing.
Right.
You know?
Hey,
You don't really learn anything from that.
absolutely. Hey, Jess, what about you? Do you remember hearing any of your pals going to doing school of choice? They're from Attleboro, but they want to go play for Bishop Finn or go to, you know what I mean, play sports over there. Does that ring a bell? Do you remember hearing anything about that when you were over in Attleboro?
No, I don't.
No, that's right. I didn't know. I mean, I knew you were in your own thing. I don't know if you remember any of your buddies doing that or hearing their buddies, you know, pick a school because he wants to get a better coach in a certain sport. But that was fun though. We had fun the other night talking about that. Nate, what's your take? Let's go right to the put the knife right in the steak and we'll go right at it. We got your take, and then we'll give Tom, Joyce a little chance to rebut, and then we're gonna be over. So we only got a couple minutes, so fill us in.
You know, my take's not really one-sided or the other side. I just think it affects certain towns more, those higher income towns, Situate, Norwalk, Cohasset. They get stripped of a lot of, Hingham, they get stripped of a lot of top tier talent to other private schools. Towns like, you know, Rockland, Rockland, Whitman, Hanson, they get stripped of a lot of talent going to vocational schools. But they don't necessarily go to vocational schools to play sports. That's the thing. They just go for the education, so it's not really affecting their athletics program a ton. Whitman Hanson draws in a lot of girls. They had last year's soccer captain was from Abington, Eve Montgomery, and then one of their All-Americans 2 years ago, Taylor Cofton, who's now playing at BU, she was from Weymouth. So they get a lot of talent coming from different towns to play girls soccer. And I just think you can't really put a number on how many towns it affects and to what extent it affects them.
Right.
But, you know, there's a girl from Hanson. It affects them in the other direction. There's a girl from Hanson, right? She goes to Thayer Academy and she's on the USA U15 national team, Ellie Cento. She's from Hanson. So she chose not to go to Whitman Hanson and go there. So that's one of the rare times that it affects them negatively. But like I said, you can't really put a number or really gauge it, but it's interesting to see how it plays out and continues to play out.
Absolutely. What about you, Tom?
So I'm obviously a big proponent of school choice, as we had talked about. I know from an athletic standpoint, yeah, it kind of hurts the schools, but you got to think high school is obviously about learning. It's trying to develop skills that will help you after school. Sometimes playing football, you can develop some life skills, but at the same time, you got to get the academic programs that are fit for you. I love the idea of vocational schools. We do not have access to one in the town of Marshfield, which is unfortunate. Half our district for the state reps does have access, but I think you really do have to focus on trying to use your high school education for the best you can possibly get out of it. Like Lucy was saying, like these kids, if their parents are paying that much money, they expect a lot out of them. I don't see much difference between the private schools around here. Most of the private schools are just there to give kids a Catholic education, but on the same level, I think we really do have to focus on trying to develop life skills and really useful things at schools. And if kids need to go to a different school to get that, and the taxpayers and all that contribute, I think that they should absolutely have that right. And the athletics, unfortunately, are sometimes secondary. Certain schools are hurt more than others by it, and that's just a fact of life.
No, it's a good point. To add to Lucy's point, what it comes down to is the parent makes the choice.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I'll use Coach Fleck, just because they want to meet Coach Fleck, we all know he is one hell of a girls soccer coach. He's probably one of the best in the state. Let's face it, he's probably one of the best in the state. Hasn't had a losing season since 1999. The parent decides, I'm from Brockton, hypothetically. I'm from Brockton. I want to go to play for Whitman Hanson because I want my kid to go there. I believe they're going to get a good education and they're going to be coached by one of the best state coaches throughout the league. That's probably a fair assessment, no? And so sometimes people blame the coaches and the people going fishing, like the coach, oh, you come to my school. The final outcome comes to the parent. The parent chooses. So you don't want to pick on little Johnny, who's no longer your best friend because he's going to go play ice hockey over at Coyle Cassidy, and he was a Bridgewater Ram buddy for yours in the middle school for years. And now he decides to play because he believes he's gonna get a good education. The parents want to come up with $8,000 over it. I know it's different in each school as far as what the tuition is, but it comes down to the parent. If the parent decides the kid wants to go and the kid's he wants to give it a shot, the final decision comes to the parent. Because the parents sign the paperwork. Right? And they cut the check.
Mm-hmm.
Unless the kid has a rich grandfather, then he might be able to make the decision. He might be able to make the big jump. All right, we're gonna get out of here. We gotta go. I want to thank Nate Rollins, Tom Joyce for coming on. We finally got Tom out of the Taco Bell parking lot to come in finally. Nate said I had to get to him one more time before we end.
Great to have you guys on today.
Thank you, appreciate it.
For Lucy Cabral, Alex Mayo, Justin Furr, I'm Dominic Damiano. We hope you enjoyed this hour of 4 Deep Sports Talk. As we covered the 2018 football season out of the Patriot League, Fisher and Keenan Conference, we will catch you next time. Everyone have a fantastic weekend.